Jones. I'm a mishap investigation specialist for the NASA Safety Center here in Huntsville, Alabama. And that entails investigating mishaps. And a mishap is an unplanned event. So a mishap will be considered as shuttle not reaching orbit, or if someone gets exposed to chemicals, I have to get aboard and go out and investigate those mishaps and try to find the solution to the mishap, as well as writing recommendations to prevent reoccurrences.
So just curious, but like, how many times have you caught mishaps or things like that occurred?
Well, it just depends. I cover 7 different NASA centers. So since we've done reclassification of the mishap types, they don't occur as because we don't send as many shuttles up now, but we still have launch vehicles that go up. So October 2014 was our last major mishap, but we do have other minor mishaps as people get exposed to asbestos or lead, slip, trips, and falls. So we have those mishaps, and those may occur maybe once a month. Mishaps as far as shuttle not reaching orbit, those occur maybe once a year.
Well, that's not that bad. So why do you think girls, and African American girls in particular, don't pursue this branch of science?
Well, I believe that the young females are not going into sciences because there's a lack of exposure. There are a lack of role models. You know, we as females, we are more nurturing. So we kind of tell our girls or the females to get into nursing, become a teacher. You know, STEM is basically a male-dominated field. And so my passion is to go out and speak to young girls and tell them that we are smarter than boys and we can do this just as well or better than they can. So that's my, passion, just to get girls into the STEM fields and just, be an advocate for women in STEM.
That's awesome. So have you always believed that you could accomplish anything you put your mind to?
Of course. Yeah, I've been instilled that at an early age. My parents always told me whatever I wanted to do, I could do it. And if I can't do it, just die trying.
So how has the male dominance in your field affected you in your work?
I want to say that, well, I guess it has affected me in a positive way. Because, when you're dealing with, my work environment is mostly older white males. So, of course, they have more work experience. They probably have a little bit more knowledge. So I kind of learn from them. I don't let their age or their gender discriminate me or discourage me. So I try to use them as a platform to learn more. And I think just having a PhD in physics, it helps me, but also I try not to use that as an arrogance to say, okay, I know more than you. I just look at it like, okay, I have the book sense, but they have more of the work experience. So if we can put the two together, we can dominate this organization, or we can dominate the problem, whatever we're trying to solve.
So how do you handle encounters with people who knowingly or unknowingly prejudge you?
Well, I try not to let that discourage me, because my skin or my gender does not define me. What actually defines me is my character and also my knowledge. It's like whatever I bring to the table to be good information, and they should utilize that and not look at it, oh, she's young, she's a black female, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So that's why I try to make sure that I know my subject matter. And that's one of my key points when I go out and speak to the youth, is to tell them no matter what your gender is, no matter what your skin color is, your race, your denomination, the key thing is to know your subject material. Because if you know your subject material, no one can really do anything to you. The only thing that can stop you from telling your knowledge is to cut off your head, because education is like Scotch tape. You can't see it, but you know it's there. So no one knows what's in your head. They can see your skin color, they can see your gender, but no one knows what you know. And if you know your subject matter, and you're on easy street. And if you don't know something, then it's okay to say that you don't know, because I've been put in situations, on the spot. It's like, oh, she has a PhD, ask Dr. Ruth. And if I don't know something, I just say, well, I don't know that answer. But I also tell young ladies and just young people in STEM, it's okay to say that you don't know, but you can always find an answer.
So clearly you have a passion for encouraging girls in smaller towns to pursue careers in, the STEM fields. Why the focus on smaller towns?
Well, I focus on smaller towns because I'm from a small town. I'm from West Helena, Arkansas. And it's a population of about 15,000 people. So we don't have the funding. We don't have the luxury to have companies. Like here in Huntsville, we have Marshall Space Flight Center. We have Boeing. We have all these scientific and, technology companies that the students can see and they can want to work for those companies. In small towns, you don't have that. So I try to go back as a positive role model to say, if I come from a small town and I come from, a city that only had one high school and I work for NASA, then they can too, but they must get their education because education is the key to success. Because education is like Coca-Cola, it is the real thing. And education is like, General Electric, it will light your path. So I just tell everybody, you have to get that education. That's your foundation. It's like a house. Without it, it's gonna fall.
Our last question for you is, what advice would you give young girls pursuing careers in science?
Well, I guess the advice I would give to young females going into the STEM field, one, like I said repeatedly during this interview, know your subject matter. That's the key. You gotta know your subject matter. So while you're in school, make sure that you learn all that you can and know those subjects, because when you get out into the real world, that is like your test. When you get on the job, sometimes we look at, some of the problems as being the hardest problems. But when you go back to the fundamentals of math and science, the answers are right there. So you have to know your subject. That's number one. Number two, it's okay to say that you don't know. Because even people with the highest degrees that have 2 and 3 degrees, they still don't know everything. So it's okay to say that you don't know. And thirdly, I would tell them to ask questions. If you are given a task and if the task is unclear, or if you're in class and you don't understand something from the teacher, it's okay to ask questions, because the same way that you're wanting to know the answer is another student beside you want to ask the same question, but people are afraid to ask questions. So it's okay to ask questions. And lastly, I would tell the students that's going to STEM to get experience. Do internships, summer internships, and do co-ops, because that is your way to learn not just the book knowledge, but then you're doing hands-on learning that goes with the book knowledge. So if you do interns and co-ops, then you will know basically how to really solve the problems hands-on.
That's awesome. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Thank you.